Hola, mi amigos! Feliz Cinco de Mayo from the thrift store on down, where we're breeding the flavors of Texico, home on a budget. And what is Texico? That's my own ship name for Texas and Mexico, and the muy fabuloso flavors of Tex-Mex cuisine. If you know anything about how Mexico celebrates their unofficial Independence Day and how we do it here in the States, you know that it's two very different ways of celebration. We are a little basic around here, tacos and margaritas. Not that there's anything wrong with that. For me, it's day on the margaritas, I don't drink. But over in Mexico, they do it with a lot more deeper spiritual meaning. And how spiritual is that meaning? Well, they dive deep into the fabric of Mexican cuisine. And how deep do they dive? Well, there's a link to a Smithsonian Magazine online article, which I will provide in the description, that just gives you a little firm grasp of how deep their celebration is, at least on a plate. The aim of this review is to bridge the gap and meet in the middle. We'll still be a little basic, but we're going to be a whole lot more livelier, more exciting, and compelling. And how compelling? Well, I never thought I'd say this, but Desperate Housewives level compelling. It's only fitting because who I consider to be the hottest of the housewives, Eva Longoria, aka the saucy, sexy Gabrielle Solis, is extending you an invitation into her kitchen as she cooks with a lot of amor for your familia and your amigos. This is Eva's Kitchen, cooking with love for family and friends, a Clarkson Potter publication which I picked up for $2.99, nearly 3 pesos. Eva explains the genesis of this book, its development, and who she inherited her love of home cooking from to the Associated Press.
I come from a family of cooks. I dedicated the book to my Aunt Elsa, who was a caterer, so she taught us all how to cook, but I've been cooking since I was about 5. And it's a really big passion of mine, and for me it's really therapeutic. I love getting in the kitchen, and I decided to do a cookbook to get all these family recipes out of my head and onto paper so we could be sure to not forget any. I put lemon in everything, on everything. It's really great for sauces, for dressings, for fish, for meat. I love lemon. I always have fresh lemons in the house. Also, I have an herb garden, so I have cilantro, I have mint, I have basil, and it's always great to just pick those off right from the garden and put them into food. I'm a pinch of this and a dash of that, so for me to actually measure. Also, I'm a natural cooker and I cook by instinct, so if I want salt, I'll put salt. If I don't, I don't. And so I felt really bad telling people to put, you know, a 1/4 cup of cheese if they didn't want it, you know. I'm like, or not, you don't have to. I just felt really bossy. So that was really hard for me because I always find cooking so natural.
This book retails for $29.99 here in the States and $34 in Canada. And you will find no specifically curated menus in this book. So, for this review, I had to wait it and choose one recipe from each of the 10 principal food chapters which you'll find in this book. And we'll get right into it after I highlight this photo of Aunt Elsa's carne guisada, one of Aunt Elsa's signature dishes handed down to Eva for inclusion in this book. Now, I believe 9 of the 10 recipes I'm going to highlight in here capture the authentic Tex-Mex or Mexican flavors that I'm aiming for in this video. It is, after all, Cinco de Mayo. However, this first recipe I'm highlighting here, ceviche, made with fresh crab in this instance, has a bit of Peruvian roots to it. And that I say with a certain degree of solemnness. If you guys don't know, my best friend David Romero's father, David Romero Sr., who I met only a handful of times in my life and seemed like a pretty decent dude, well, he died 2 years ago, this very day, because of, you guessed it, coronavirus, among other health problems that he was suffering with towards the end of his life. So, needless to say, Cinco de Mayo will never feel the same again for David Jr., his mom Linda, or for anyone in their extended family. So this I highlight with a shout out heavenward to David Sr., who I'm pretty sure, even though he was of Peruvian descent, would have embraced this wholeheartedly. You could use really any fresh fish for ceviche, crab, or how Peru does it with sea bass. The sky's the limit. Just make sure you prep it safely. Stay tuned to the end for a very special edition of the Romero Roundup, remembering David Sr. as he hangs with his amigos back in his native homeland of Peru. This you'll find in the appetizer section, but for right now, we better continue with our little fiesta here because we're not doing this on El Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. We want to keep the fiesta vibe going. I think we've been solemn long enough, but I do want to pay my respects. On to Mexican caprese. This is Eva's version of the classic enchilada caprese, an Italian salad of mozzarella, tomatoes, and basil. However, in lieu of the basil, she utilizes green avocados to create that red, white, and green color pattern that represents, you guessed it, the Mexican flag. You'll find a lot of ingredient preparation tips and substitution tips when applicable in sidebars like these, and of course, tips from Aunt Elsa's kitchen. Those sidebars with a lot more meaning can be found in here as well. Next up, in fish main courses, we have here tilapia with citrus scallop sauce. Citrus scallop sauce, for some reason, to me, sounds a bit more Puerto Rican, but hey, it could be Mexican to you, or it could even be Peruvian. All I know is that this, for some reason, has some Spanish influence, and you'll finally understand why tilapia is starting to become a bit more popular. Now, keeping things more on the home front, we have here enchiladas rojas, red enchiladas. When she was growing up, enchiladas were a family affair. On enchilada night, Eva's sister said she knew that they would be called upon to take their positions alongside their mom in the kitchen. One sister fried the tortillas, another dipped them in the sauce, another, usually Eva, stuffed them, and the last rolled and transferred them in the pan. She can never think about enchiladas without remembering all those happy times in the kitchen. It's an assembly line that quickly turns into a fiesta line. You'll understand why once you make these enchiladas rojas. And red, by the way, being my favorite color. As photographed on page 10, we have here Aunt Didi's carne guisada. This classic Tex-Mex stew is rich and delicious without the hours of simmering that most stews require. She can't imagine ever eating this without Aunt Edna's homemade flour tortillas, which you'll find on page 171. We'll be highlighting some tortillas a little later, but we're going for the corn tortillas. Corn's better. It tastes good, it holds up longer. If you use flour tortillas, sometimes they can disintegrate into mush. This is the photograph that you'll find on page 10. So yes, it's not just Aunt Elsa who Eva inherited her love of home cooking from. However, Aunt Elsa does provide a useful tip right here for a thicker gravy for this stew. Next up, a staple of any Mexican diet, Mexican rice. People in the know say that when you perfect the rice, you're ready to get married, but not until then. Follow Eva's recipe, and she says your Mexican rice will be fabulous too. Fabulous enough to wed Eva Longoria if things don't work out for her second marriage right now to Televisa executive Jose Antonio Bastion? We'll see about that. This is chipotle aioli. You'll find this in the dressings and sauces chapter in here. Chipotle aioli can be used to puck up many a delicioso dish in here. Main course, side dish, whatever. Next up, corn tortillas, as I already teased. Corn tortillas, in my opinion, better than flour tortillas in some applications, and in some other ones, not so much. I guess it depends on my taste buds, the filling that the tortillas are going to be holding in, and, well, my mood, really. These are basil's churros. And basil's churros, well, they were manufactured in Basil's kitchen. You'll find this in the dessert section. Of course, no Mexican celebration is complete without those churros. And when you're ready to wash it all down, how about a limeade? The limes that Eva grew in Texas are almost a hybrid lemon lime. And she used them to make eggs. Go figure, whatever. It wasn't until I was much older that I realized that people usually use lemons, not limes. This is the recipe she grew up with, and it works just as perfectly with the limes you can buy at the store as it did with the limes she grew. A very fresh and refreshing ending to this review. In addition to Ben Fink's photographs, the photographs of Eva, aka Gabrielle, taken throughout this book just reinforce my opinion that she is indeed the hottest of the desperate housewives. Having said that, as I do my random picture walk, there are a couple of complaints in here. Yes, this does a very noble job at encapsulating some portion of the Tex-Mex cuisine you might be familiar with, but some other Texican Mexican staples are missing from here. If you read this book, you might recognize what those staples are. And 2, as far as failure to acknowledge the fans, well, I was expecting a miracle from Eva, but I didn't get one. Failure to acknowledge the fans, and you know the Desperate Housewives had its fair share of loyal fans at ABC, is no bueno, and so there will be consequences. But other than that, I gotta say, muy bien. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 claps. Now, as far as specialty ingredients go, well, this book doesn't call for a lot of them, only a handful, and that's fine. And the resources found at the end of the book, well, they're more for organizations that you can vouch your support for sustainable food practices, including one for Eva's charity, Eva's Heroes. Whereas Elsa of Arendelle is Frozen's Snow Queen, this Aunt Elsa, for all intents and purposes, is the Fire Queen, because of her powerful essence that can be felt throughout this cookbook. I have to say, this cookbook is muy fuego. It is seriously fire. Have a happy and safe and, of course, muy delicioso Cinco de Mayo from all of us at the Thrift Store Rundown. For watching TSR. Now, to see another awesome review like this one, click here. If you want to become a Hollywood bargain hunter, click here to subscribe. And I'll catch you on the thrift side.